There's something a lot of survivors eventually realize, and when you finally see it, you cannot see it. Trauma doesn't just hurt you, sometimes it attracts the exact people who know how to use their pain against you. Manipulators are very good at reading people. They look for certain signs. People who are empathetic, people who want to see the good in others, people who have been conditioned to overgive. And trauma survivors often carry those traits because when you grow up in chaos, you learn to become hyper aware of other people's emotions. You learn to read the room. You learn to keep the peace. You learn to make excuses for behavior that shouldn't be excused, not because you're weak, but because survival trains you to prioritize other people's feelings over your own safety. And manipulators recognize that immediately. They see someone who forgives easily, someone who tries to understand instead of walking away, someone who keeps giving chances. And to them, that looks like opportunity. At first, it doesn't look toxic. It looks like connection. They mirror you. They admire you. They make you feel seen, especially if you've spent life feeling misunderstood. But over time, things begin to shift. The admiration turns into control. The kindness turns into criticism. The support turns into confusion. And suddenly, you're questioning yourself. You're wondering if you're overreacting, if you're being too sensitive, if maybe you're the problem. But here's what's really happening. Your trauma taught you to tolerate things that healthy people walk away from. Your heart wants to believe the best. Your nervous system wants to keep the peace. So if you stay longer than you should, you try harder than you should, you forgive things you never deserved. But healing changes that. Healing teaches you something powerful. Your empathy is not the problem. Your kindness is not the problem. The problem is when people use those things against you. When you start healing, you stop ignoring the red flags. You stop explaining away disrespect. You stop giving unlimited access to people who drain your energy. And suddenly, manipulators lose interest because the version of you that tolerated manipulation doesn't exist anymore. You become someone who sees clearly, someone who trusts their instincts, someone who understands that love does not require self-betrayal. And that shift changes everything. Because trauma might have made you vulnerable to manipulators once, but healing makes you impossible to control. And that is the real power of doing the work. That's what Soul Therapy Productions is about. Learning the truth, healing the wounds, and becoming a version of yourself that can never be manipulated again. If this resonated with you, subscribe. This space is for the people who are healing, breaking cycles, and reclaiming their power. And if you ever realize trauma made you tolerate the wrong people, comment, "I see it now." Welcome to Soul Therapy Productions.